Okay, we are live and I'm going to start recording as well. And I see some people are joining us, which is awesome. Start letting them in. And good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So I see people are starting to come in, which is fabulous. So my name is Debbie Sluice, and I am here with my beautiful colleague and friend, Justine Gelevan. And if you're lucky enough to have joined us live, my name is Debbie Sluice, and I am here with my beautiful colleague and friend, Justine Gelevan. Thanks, Taylor. And we've got Taylor supporting us in the background, and she's monitoring the live into Facebook. Taylor, do you want to just make sure that we are being streamed live into Facebook? Can you just give us a thumbs up or something? Are you there, Taylor? Justine's going to check.
I just got an alert. We're live.
Okay. Yeah. She says we're live. Great. Great. Everything's working. Look at this automation. So hi, Carrie. Hi, Jody. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So we had over 35 people register this morning. And so it seems like maybe everybody's just getting a sleepy start, or maybe they're catching us in the Facebook group. So let's just get started, and hopefully there's a few more that will hop on as well. So Carrie and Jody, please go ahead, and since there's just the two of you, why don't we start with you, Carrie? You want to let us know where you're from and a little bit about you?
Oh, hi, good morning. How is everybody doing this morning?
Really good.
Good to
see
my
you.
favorite chai. I got my favorite chai tea, so I'm good to go. I love Starbucks. So my name's Carrie. I'm from Toronto, Mississauga actually, and I'm a few things. I'm a recruiter, and I'm also a resume writer and a career coach and interview coach. So I've been recruiting for over 25 years. So then over the last year, I just decided, actually 7 years, I decided to start writing resumes. And then over the last couple of years, started, getting candidates prepped for interviews. So helping with the career and doing some interview coaching. So a few things. And I'm going to be starting to write some e-guides too as well. And so, yeah, just really helping people from the beginning of their career path, just even through. I also just became over last year certified through Brendan Burchard's coaching, so a high performance coach. So adding all that into what I offer people as well too. So
wonderful,
Carrie.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, were you the one that we were connecting with on LinkedIn?
I think so. Yes.
Yes,
that's
awesome.
me. So hi. I'm a massive user of LinkedIn. So I really, really love it. I teach it. I write the profiles. I just spent 6 months in an academy, even learning out even more about it, just to use it for your business, but also just even, writing in LinkedIn profiles for clients as well too. So just, it is such an amazing platform. So it's my favorite platform. So I'm on it a lot. So, and I'm really, really big on engaging with people. So that's why I've been commenting on your posts, because I'm a really big advocate of entrepreneurs. I'm a big advocate of women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, but I'm also a big advocate of just taking 2 seconds and posting or liking. It doesn't take much time for me, say in a day, if I made 10, 10 posts or commented, what does that take me? 10 minutes? So I really, really try and do that. And so I'm hoping that encourages other people too, as well, to openly support other people.
Yeah, I love that. Together we rise. And that's really a practical way. I mean, you can just do a like, but if you add a comment and that you're actually taking a few minutes to see what they're about, it just helps literally raise the algorithm and get our message and our purpose out there. So for anyone who's watching the replay, catching this, Carrie's your girl if you want to know more about LinkedIn and how to write your profile. I know Justine and I were in a coaching program together and we got a little bit of that, but certainly you can expand your expertise. And LinkedIn is not my forte. I have to say I'm a little bit leery about LinkedIn. So maybe I need to connect with you as well, Carrie, and find out how can I broaden my comfort zone.
I've got I've got almost 22,000 connections. So I have spent over a decade doing this, learning it, mastering it, just really, but again, my love for LinkedIn is pretty big too. So I'm more than happy to help. So just reach out.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Jody, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello. I don't think you can see me, right?
No.
That's right.
No, I'm not sure why. I don't know what I did, but But I'm here. I'm here. Yes, nice to see everybody.
Wonderful. Where are you from, Jody?
So I'm from Chatham, Kent.
Okay.
Yes,
Right
yes,
around
and
Debbie. Wonderful.
right around
Welcome.
Debbie. Yes, I met Debbie probably about 6 months ago. I'm newly an empty nester. Our son is 26 and our daughter is 19 in her second year at Western. So I had stumbled upon Debbie's Dare to Share classes, and I'm going to do a vision board with her. So yeah, just interested to hear everybody's stories and to just learn more.
Fantastic. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Brenda, I saw you pop on and then pop off. Are you able to just pop on again and tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you calling in from? Maybe she stepped away. Oh, there she
There
is.
she is.
We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
There
Is that
you go.
better?
Much better, yeah.
Okay, I am so not tech savvy. I am like, I just got home from work and I'm trying to get this all set up and I'm a little frazzled here. So sorry. I am Brenda. I am Debbie's sister. And I live close to St. Catharines. I'm in the Niagara region and about me, I have 5 kids. I am a house cleaner. I have 5 grandbabies and I'm just right now juggling life with being a grandma and getting ready for my youngest daughter to get married and just busy over here. So that's a little glimpse into what I'm doing
Awesome.
right now.
Great
Yeah.
to get to know you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my gorgeous sister. So I just have one, just the 2 of us.
Your favorite
I'm her
sister.
senior.
Yeah. Only by 2 years.
Yeah. But this is the first time Brenda's been on something like this. So I'm really excited that you're joining, Bren.
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it. It was a bit of a rush this morning, but it worked out.
Good.
And is it Bibiane? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but welcome and feel free to share if you'd like.
Thank you so much. So my name is Viviane. I'm from Canada, Quebec side. My first language is French. So I'm so sorry that I can't open my video because I am in an office. So I'm so sorry for that. So I live in Canada, in Quebec side, and I saw the advertisement on the Facebook, and I said, okay, it was very interesting, and I said, okay, I'll go and check what they're doing. So I'm so happy to be here, and also I'm trying to grow my, I don't know, something like business in health and wellness coaching.
Okay.
The thing is that I've been always stopped by my own self-sabotage and the words that I sometimes pronounce, and I realize how those words impact my own life and the life of the other people in maybe my family or friends. Yes, so that's why I say, okay, I'll come and join this. I don't know, join you today. Thank you.
It's wonderful to meet you. I'm thrilled to have you here. And I love that you recognize the power of words. That's exactly why we're here today, is to talk about power words and the power of words and how much impact they have on our lives, on the people around us, and so on. So thanks for bringing us right into focus, Viviane. That's awesome. And I'm thrilled that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For sure. So we're going to use the chat as well. So if you could drop in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel right now in this moment? 1 being like really low energy, 10 being really high energy. Again, I don't know if you speak normally in those kind of words, but feeling kind of low or feeling really great. Let's just put it that perspective. Give us sort of a read on how you're feeling in this moment. And so what Justine and I recognize, and both of us have come from corporate backgrounds and now we're full-time coaches, we're seeing a lot of our clients are really looking at working, they may have moved from their office into their home during COVID. And now there's like this hybrid weird kind of thing where maybe you're part-time back into work, still working from home, or if you're back at work full-time, it just doesn't feel like it did before pre-COVID. So things have really changed. And what, even though COVID had us some ways slow down, not so much if you had children at home and you were then doing the homeschooling or the online schooling, as well as all the other things. And we just find that we're working more than ever. This is what our clients are saying to us. And it's easy to get lost in the vision our work has set for us rather than the one that we want to create for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So the thing is that if you don't create it yourself, someone else will create it for you. So we're always still having some kind of focus, whether it be our routine, the hours we work, the commitments we make. And so taking back and empowering yourself to create your vision for the way that you want to live and creating that is certainly within your power. And one of the ways that you can begin to do that is by a single word. And if you're feeling a bit skeptical, please just hang on, stay with us for the 3 days, and you'll discover what I just actually supported 10 clients this weekend. I was at an in-person retreat. So glad in-person retreats are back. It's so lovely. There's something magical that happens when you learn together, hang out in your pajamas together, and then wake up and have breakfast. It's like your soul sisters forever. And I got to be with them and support them through this process. So I'm really excited to be able to do it for you in these next 3 days. We are going to be guiding you at the end of this session into this beautiful program that Justine and I co-coach together. And yeah, you heard that right, co-coach, which is it's like dancing. That's what we get to do. We get to dance together as coaches and offer this to our clients. So it's a very unique program, and most coaches are doing it independently or they have coaches underneath them, but we actually get to serve our clients together. Just like you see us right now on the screen, that's how we offer the service to our clients. Justine has an expertise in the Enneagram, which is really understanding who you are at a deeper level. And then I have the expertise with visioning and vision boards. And we've combined those expertise together to create this beautiful program to support our clients to move from burnout to balance. And we're going to share a testimonial on Thursday from one of our most recent clients, Susan, and just the impact that program had for her. But let's get back to today and about the vision board. So as I said, my name is Debbie Sluice. I'm a personal development and empowerment coach with an expertise in visioning and vision boards. My company is called Dare to Declare. I have an in-person studio. I serve clients in my studio. I serve them, as I said, at retreats, also online. And I have an academy where I support people to add the Dare to Declare methodology into their current business. Half of them are coaches, my graduates, and the other half are people like direct sales, yoga, a variety of business backgrounds where they see the benefit of using vision boards. So, and then I'll let Justine introduce herself, and then she's going to give you a little bit more information.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Debbie. And I think a little bit about me really quickly is to say that much like Debbie is a development coach for personal development and vision, I have a passion for working in personal and professional development. And so I spend a lot of time working with leaders and employees who are in a variety of different stages of their career. I offer career coaching as well as leadership coaching. And that's part of what I love to do in my work with Debbie is allow people and clients that I have to understand that when we develop ourselves personally and professionally, it really is developing our whole person, because we don't just leave work at work. We don't just leave ourselves at home. We bring that same person wherever we go. And one of my passions that I love to bring into the work that we will do together over the next few days, as well as in the Burnout to Balance program, is Enneagram and personality development, but also awareness of our emotional states and really welcoming a bit of radical self-acceptance as who we are, and we bring that person wherever we go in work, at home, and so on. So that's a taste about me, and I'm I'm just going to segue right into why are we here together? And so, you know already, and Bibiane said it well, words are powerful. And this is a power word challenge. So over the next 3 days, we will get the chance to create a power word that you can use to anchor you to goals and vision and what it is that you're looking to create more of in your life. And it's not necessarily a magic word, but very much a word that will empower you and motivate you towards taking action and creating that vision. So what we know, and the work that Debbie and I do together a lot in coaching, is that when we set our intention, we will then be conditioned to see what it is we're focusing on. And we know that just with basic neuroscience of the way we need to condition our brain, we need to actually create it first in our mind in order to then create it in reality. That's the way that the body and the brain work. And so a key component of that, or a way to dive into that, is this power word that you're going to get the chance to create over the next few days. And so just in terms of some logistics, you already know since you are here, but I will say it again for anyone on the replay and for yourselves here. We will be meeting every day at 11 a.m. Eastern on Facebook and in this Zoom call. There are workbooks that Taylor is going to be uploading into the Facebook group as well as into the Zoom chat. And so you can follow along on your workbooks. And then in addition, anybody who's catching the replay, please do engage with us, comment as you see things, and we will look to connect with you outside of these live calls to make sure that you're feeling fully engaged as well. So thank you for being here, and I can't wait to see what we create together.
So I see that Taylor's just shared, I'm assuming the file is the workbook. So go ahead and click on that, and you want to print that off. So yeah, that's a workbook for day one. It's in the chat as well. It's in the group. So they're great little workbooks that will keep you on track. And if you're like me, I have probably sitting right here, 5 notebooks, not even joking. And then I'm like, where did I write that down? Shoot, that was so good. You know, I'm even thinking like this morning, I heard from my coach, a goal is the only thing to stop you from drifting. And so I was like, ooh, that's good. I gotta write that down. But then it's like, where did that go? So if you've got a workbook, you know, it's got the title page on there. You can just put it in a spot that you're not going to remember. Oh yeah, that's the stuff that Justine and Deb were talking about around the power words. So highly recommend that you print that off for yourself, and there'll be a unique one each of the 3 days. So let's get started. What we're going to invite you to do right now is to connect, like we were talking about, connect, and thank you for already sharing who you are and where you are. Engage and be present. So what I'd like you to do right now is in your workbook and or in your notebook, write down 2 words, how you're feeling in this very moment. So I'm not asking you to think about, you know, when people say, how are you? You're like, tired, busy, maybe, you know, and that's sort of like that overall. But in this moment at 11:21 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, September the 13th, how are you feeling right now in this moment? Just check in with your body, check in with your mind. And what are 2 words that you would describe how you're feeling? And then I'd like you to also think about what's your intention for taking this challenge? So like Bibiane, when she said, you know, that it caught her attention, she was curious about that. She knows the power of words. So when you saw the title and maybe you saw the post that Justine and I've been posting on social media around this, what was it that resonated for you? What was it that you were wanting to get from coming here? We all do things because we want to get something. That's just the way that we're made up as humans. It has to somehow benefit us. So what were you wanting to achieve coming in here and hoping that you could get from this experience? And then what I'd like you to do is curate a commitment, an intention for yourself. So start it off with, I will. So what do you promise to yourself in these next 3 days using the 2 words that you just described with how you're feeling? So I will, what is it? Using those words and the intention that you had, that what you wanted to get. So perhaps it's, I will remain curious and feel and accept my nervous feelings as I explore self-awareness, perhaps like something like that. So the feelings are not good or bad, they just are. I want you to notice that, acknowledge them. It's just good to notice that they're here, they're present with you. And in your intention, notice them, accept them. And we're going to use them as part of your journey in the next 3 days. So in the next 3 days, we're going to do 3 things. First, we're going to dream. So today we're going to open up, I'm going to give you an exercise in a minute to really dig in and dream. And knowing that, you know, we are in a bit of a time restriction here. Some of this work, certainly you've got another, 24 hours before we're going to meet again. So continue the work as things are coming up for you, as you're recalling this conversation, that you might want to go back to your notebook and add some more things in it. So we're going to dream today. And then tomorrow we're going to dig in and discover. So go a little bit deeper about discovering the more, what else is there. And then the day 3, we're going to have you declare. So declaring your word. And again, everything here is voluntary. So if you're not a person who wants to be on camera or speaking, there's no, you don't have to do anything. There's no shoulds here. And so, however, the declaration is powerful. So it's one thing to discover your word, but it's that much more powerful to declare it in a safe space. And we want to create that safe space here with you and for you. So today we're going to start with the dreaming. And these are 3 words you might want to write down for yourself. Ask, believe, and receive. If you want to be a maximizing manifester, that's a mouthful. So in other words, that like Justine was just talking about, that you think it and you create it. If you want to be that person, if you can master these 3 words, ask, believe, and receive, your life, you will be able to live the life of your dreams. And so anything that is that big is obviously, it's simple, but yet it's in the doing that makes it complex. So ask for what you want. So getting clear on what you really want. And most of us, when you ask, what do you want? Either we don't know, think about you as moms, right? When your child says to you, what do you want for Christmas? You're like, oh, honey, I have everything I need. I don't need anything. Because we're putting everybody else first. Now, maybe when your husband asks, what do you want? You can come up with something, but when, it's like, but it's really digging into what is it that I really want? And maybe it's not things, perhaps it's experiences, perhaps it's a way of being. I want to be peaceful. I want to be content. I want to be loved and to love with freedom, with complete abandonment. So asking for what you want. The second word is believe, believing that it's possible. And creating that unshakable belief. Now, I'm a Christian, and so I speak in these terms, but I know that God is unshakable because he's from beginning to end. So again, if you believe in something different, you can think about the universe, but again, I name him as God. But believing that these laws, the laws of the universe, and the one that we're most familiar with is the law of gravity, okay? What you put up and drop, it will drop. That's a law. If it doesn't, well, something's gone haywire, right? So there are so many other laws that are also scientific, and that when we believe that the law, say, of attraction, which is what we focus on, where our focus goes, our energy flows, and we attract it to us, that's a law. When we begin to believe, wow, there are other laws, I just don't know about them, doesn't mean that they're not true. when we begin to believe that, then we actually also are in our maximizing of manifesting. The last is being open to receive. And so I talk to some clients and they're like, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. And I actually don't believe them. You know why? Because when I offer her a compliment, she goes, this old thing? Oh no, I got it on sale. Actually, it wrinkles and it's kind of tight and right, deflect. So we get to exercise our muscle of receiving, because if we want to receive the $1 million or all these things from the universe, the very first thing we need to do is get used to receiving from our human companions, friends. And so that's the piece where I also love this, in that what usually manifests is bigger and better than what we originally thought, because we can only think based on our experiences. And so sometimes the universe is sending us what we've asked for, but it doesn't look like it's packaged this same way we thought it was going to be. It's bigger and better. And so we let it go. We're like, oh, no, thanks. That's probably meant for someone else because that's bigger. That's bigger than what I thought. So that's got to be meant for my neighbor, not for me. And meanwhile, it's like the universe is going, that's for you. It's for you. So ask, believe, and receive. So I'd love you to write down this question. And again, you can maybe give some more thought to it as homework going between now and when we meet again. But if time and money, the two biggest objections that I hear from my clients, I don't have time, I don't have the funds, but if time and money, let's take those off the shelf. If they were no object, what would you do? Who could you be?
I find that's a question that we just need to take a breath with. Take a breath. If time and money were no object, what would I feel like? Who could I be? What would I find myself doing? Sometimes that one needs a little time to just settle into as we get still with it.
How this is relating to discovering your power word is we're going to uncover tomorrow some more themes that are coming up. So as I'm giving these provocations, these questions, these words, like we did with the initial thing, how you're feeling, if time and money were no object, we'll just start to notice what are some common themes coming up that might guide you and give you that beacon towards your power word. So as you're taking notes, be a detective yourself. Like unfortunately, I can't be there in person with you, which I can typically coach people through. We can look through it, but I'm going to challenge you. And I know because you're capable and competent to do this, sift through for themes, for feelings, for words that might end up being your power word. We're going to go over our half hour today. So if you have to pop off, I understand. And we're going to have this as a replay. You can catch the last, I'm thinking we'll probably go about 10 more minutes. You can catch that, but otherwise, we're going to continue on. Mm-hmm. I'll hand it over to you, Justine.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you're sort of ruminating on this idea of who I might be, what I might feel like without that time and money as a barrier or an obstacle, one of the things I want to kind of call into attention in addition to that is how often we allow ourselves to give priority to other things and how we justify that. And how, if time or money were no object, I would be this or feel this or do this. And yet we find ourselves in commitments and agreements that are not in alignment with that. And a lot of times that can come down to not knowing or really giving it priority. And sometimes it can come down to boundaries, how we really give priority to the things that are most important to us. And sometimes boundaries, if we're not very great at them, will mean that we are giving too much in a direction that's not supporting where we want to go. So I'm curious if you could just pop into the chat tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, how good you think you are at setting boundaries and keeping them. So maybe 5 is like, I'm really good and I keep them every time. And maybe 3 is like pretty good, but there's room for improvement. And a 1 or a 2 is like, I really don't often set boundaries. And when I do, I don't hold to them. Just curious what comes up for you. Awesome.
I
So
could
it's
talk.
just
I would be a 4.
a 4 on boundaries. Okay.
Because I'm
Wonderful.
very, very aware of boundaries and I have big goals and dreams that I've been working on. So the only way I'm going to get there, I mean, I'm already a coach to begin with. So I've been kind of already, going over this in my head because I can't get somewhere if I don't have boundaries, right? So
Mhm.
I've had to deal with a girlfriend and I had to put those boundaries, just even going out or things I'm doing in my life, or just I have to have boundaries or I'm not going to be successful, because unfortunately then we let other things come into our world, in our life, that are very distracting, not helping me with my goals. So
Mhm.
I finally just said this year, I'm like, nope, that's it. I know what I'm doing and I'm not letting anything come in. But I had to be very clear, on what I wanted to begin with, or else
That's
it's
true.
hard.
Yeah.
Or else the boundaries are not really there. I'm really, really crystal clear on what I
Yeah, they
want.
need to have purpose. That's right.
Totally. Yep. And I
Um,
know that. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
wonderful. Oh, no, it's good. And I see that Jody and Brenda, you put 3 out of 5 on the boundaries piece. And I don't know about all of you in the room or those of you tuning in, but I've said this to Debbie before, like with some people and some topics, I have really good and clear boundaries, but with other people in my life, it could be a pretty slippery slope. There's certain people that I just can't seem to hold myself back from giving what it is that I told myself. I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. But then when they ask, I will do it. So there's certain people that have that effect. And it requires me to have that discipline and that purpose, to your point, Carrie, about why am I doing this and what is that for? So why am I bringing up boundaries at all? Well, the reality is that as we're talking about creating vision and purpose in where we're going and what we're creating, a lot of times people will say, I'm burnt out, or I don't know what I want. And they keep looking for it to pop up in places that they're spending their time or investing their time, when in reality it's the imbalance that's or the lack of boundaries in some cases that's keeping you off track of who you might want to be or what you want to create. And so I saw this phrase last year, and it said, the cure for burnout is not more self-care. The cure for burnout is boundaries. So a lot of times people think, oh, I'm burnt out. I'm giving too much in this direction. I need to care for myself. And the reality is, yes, self-care is a major part of recovering from burnout. But boundaries are a supportive self-care measure that we need to do and create in order to keep us on track. So if you're aware that you're a 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, or even lower on your boundaries, it's something to consider as you are thinking about, what do we put our time into? And am I often doing what I said I would, or am I often going against that? So one of the things I want to kind of leave you with today as you're going away from here is to think through what it is that we've created in our lives, and not just with a desire to change it, but actually to be quite grateful for it. What have I created to this point? What am I absolutely grateful for as I go through the next 24 hours that I've created? What is here for me? And how much time do I give it? And as you consider the things that you've prioritized or time you've given, you may also find that there are elements of your life that you might want to think, oh, I noticed that I'm really grateful for this piece or this goal or this thing I want, but I'm actually giving it really minimal time in my schedule. And maybe that needs to change a little in order to bring me on track. So my encouragement in terms of the boundaries piece is to evaluate your time, your energy, your effort. Where is it going? How are you grateful for what it's created? And what else is there for you? Think through that over the next 24 hours. And then I'm going to pass it over to Debbie. She's got some to-dos for you in terms of actual supplies that you're going to need for the next 3 days.
Yeah. So, I love listening to you, Justine. I'm kind of like, and I forget that I'm actually on the call. So good. And I just want to just circle back to say, and I think this is what Justine said so beautifully, is that the boundaries, really, it's difficult to have a boundary if you don't know what your vision and your purpose and what you really want is. So because where is that line going to be drawn? Where are you actually focused to say, no, actually, this is what I want? And then you can set that boundary. So that's why it's so important to have that question, asking for what you want, believe, and then being open to receive. So love that connection. So the supplies you're going to want to get between now and tomorrow, very simple. You probably have them lying around the house. You're going to want a marker or markers. If you've got kids, you can get colorful. You're going to want a file card. Now you can have it be like a recipe card. You can have, in fact, if you've got old birthday cards, Christmas cards, something just with a little bit like a card stock, you could rip off the back of a former greeting card, something like that you're going to want, but about that size. You may want to have stickers. Yeah, perfect, Carrie. You're going to want, but if you want stickers, they're very available at the dollar store, depending on what dollar store you're at. But that's where I get most of my stickers. If you're in North America, you can get them quite inexpensive. You may want to just check if you've got some paper materials laying around, like flyers, magazines. Again, you don't have to get that detailed, but certainly if you have that available to you, you could gather those as well. And if you've got time between now and tomorrow, you can ask family and friends if they've got something they can contribute. This is something, if we're doing a full vision board, you would need a lot of magazines. But again, it doesn't take very many images to fill up a card like this. So, and the images are optional. It's really about the word we're really going to focus on here in the next 3 days. Mm-hmm. So greeting card, markers, scissors, glue stick if you're going to add extra images, and if you want to have stickers, that's optional. What we're going to ask you to do is bring a friend. So because you are invested and you've just experienced this morning, it's free. Like, pass out the link, bring some, it's still time to register. People can catch the replay. Taylor's going to be posting the replay in the Facebook group for today, so people can catch up, or they'll just plug in tomorrow, which is totally cool. So please invite your friends to come tomorrow and on Thursday. And the challenge that Justine gave you was to put your gratitude lens on. And I'm going to ask you that in the Facebook group to drop in, what would you do? Who would you be if time and money were no object? Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll just post something in there with that question, and then you can just comment below. Let's raise the vibration together. Let's dream really big. Let's just create our own space of beautiful high vibration in that Facebook group. What would you do? Who would you be if time and money were no object? And then I'm going to hand it over now to Taylor, because we have got a prize. So thanks everyone for being here live. So it's just for those, not for everyone who's registered, but those that have been able to commit to coming here live. And thank you for staying on. And Taylor, are you there?
She said there was a little lag, so she might just join in a couple minutes or seconds. There she
Hi, ladies. Sorry, there was a bit of a delay. All right. So we have a quick giveaway for those who are watching right now. And we had a couple participants chatting in the Facebook Live.
Wonderful.
So I am going to share that now. Our prize today, Debbie, I don't know if you want to show the book, Happy Days by Gabby Bernstein. So very exciting. It's a great read, motivating, and Debbie has met Gabby, and she's a beautiful, beautiful soul. So I'm
She's
going
a
to spin the
podcaster,
wheel.
author. She's done vision boards with Oprah's team. She's like the goddess of vision boards. And yeah, I got to meet her. That manifested in my life in April in Nashville. That was extraordinary. So really excited to give away this book. It's really, really amazing read.
All right.
Who's gonna
Let's spin.
win? Lisa Marie, you're a winner.
Yay! Lisa must be in the Facebook.
Yes,
She was
must
in
be.
the Facebook chat there. So I will I'll contact you, Lisa, and get your information so we can send you Happy Days by Gabby Bernstein.
Amazing. Before we close out, I just want to, I hope it's all right, Debbie, if we just take a minute and I'd love to just hear from you quickly, takeaways, what you're taking from today, and maybe even to revisit that feeling that you had earlier and to go, we did scale from 1 to 10. How are you feeling? I'm curious, what are you taking away from today? How are you right now? So share, either put it in the chat or take your mic off and share. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that you'll all join us again tomorrow. And those of you in Facebook, in the group, jump in the VIP room in Zoom too. That would be awesome. But yeah, tell me, what are you taking away from today? Pretty quiet. Maybe you're still thinking about what life would be like without any barrier to time or money.
Are any words percolating for you yet?
Empowered is my word, one of my words. So empowered and happy.
Okay, good.
That's what I'm taking away. But
Coming.
I do like to receive what you were saying though too, Debbie. Like I really like that too, because I think I've been really blocked for years. I mean, I'm usually pretty confident I'm okay with receiving compliments, but it's amazing how I'm trying to become better at receiving so that maybe then I can receive other things too.
For sure. I'll give you a real quick tip that I got from Brené Brown, and it blew my mind. And she's talking to Oprah on a YouTube, so you can Google this. And she says that if you can't receive something without judging yourself, right, then you never give without judgment. I thought, wow, that was really big. And I work with families. And, I used to, for 30 years, I was in childcare and, giving. And yet if someone offered me a coffee or a ride to somewhere, or, they gave me flowers, I literally felt my body flush with almost embarrassment. Like I would judge myself. And the stories I would make up is, what do they think is something wrong with me? If I would just make up all this story, I'd be judging myself. And so that's just where the work begins, is in ourself, is to understand and to let that go. As Justine talks about with her work, is that self-awareness and understanding those are just stories, and just to allow to receive. And like you just said, Carrie, so beautifully, like when we're open to receive, so much more is now going to be channeled in.
But I'm finally accepting it. I had this, it was part of this group a little while ago, and this girl said, she goes, she's been a lone wolf for a long time. And that's how she kind of described herself. And I think that's how I've kind of been for a long time. I've been a single mom and entrepreneur for over 15 years. And I'm like, that's another thing I started doing this year. I'm like joining this group or doing this, or, I've got a coach now, or I'm doing this, and not being that lone wolf mentality so much. So opening up those doors and letting, people in and asking for help and joining this and doing this, so that, I will receive more too at the same time. That's how I kind of perceive it too.
Love that. And I love the image of a wolf, and perhaps that's something you want to add to your card, because what I know is that wolves travel in packs, and there's like a whole, a hierarchy within that and how they support each other. And so Yeah, I love that idea of the wolf, and maybe there's
Yeah.
something more to dig into that for you with
Well,
your
there
wolf.
is, because I do like being more of a pact, but something happened years ago. Again, I'm not really sure, but I think it's just things happen. And then all of a sudden, I was part of the pact, and then I wasn't as much. And then now I'm like aching and wanting to get back to more of that too as well. So
Oh, Carrie, I'm feeling this. Like, even though it's through Zoom, the energy is so valuable. I can feel it. That's beautiful.
thanks. Thank you. Some good discovery. Sorry, I'll go on mute, but you have to dig deep for this sort of stuff.
Yes, you do. And this is why I was saying it seems very simple. Single word. How can that change your life? 100%. It can. It will. If you are doing the work here in the next 3 days, like Carrie just did, which is being truthful like that. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably around that. I appreciate that. Because now you create space for the rest of them, us here, to do the same.
Awesome. On that note, does anyone else have other things to share or questions, even as you're wondering? This is your time, really. You've got Debbie and I with undivided attention and focus on you, and it really is what you make it in terms of coaching. Vivienne. Oh, I'd love to hear. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you to Debbie, and thank you, Justine. So as I told you, my first language is French. It took like more than a courage for me to come and log in this live session. So I really appreciate the fact that your tolerance if I don't speak very well. So the first thing is that I usually give, and to receive is very, very difficult for me. Even the single compliment, someone who's come and say, "Oh, Bibiane, you're kind," or "Oh, Bibiane, you're beautiful." "Oh no, I have this, you don't see this pimple on my face," or "You don't see that I'm a little bit overweight." You don't see. So that's something that I just want to change, like to switch and practice my brain to to receive.
I love that you said practice with your brain, because it is a lot of that, isn't it? Like we have a lot of conditioning, and a lot of times we have thoughts that we believe to be real. All our thoughts are not always real. We know that to be for sure. But it's also that a lot of times we're so conditioned to think those thoughts, and then we'll bring them into what we see in the future. So much so that if we might say, "I have a yearning to feel valued." And then when someone actually comes to me and values me, my brain's not actually able to receive it in that moment, because I'm still believing I can't be valuable. And so you're right, we need to rewire that. I am valuable. And when I see that come in, then I will be able to see, oh yes, there is more of that for me to see. And it really is something that we create first here, and then we will see more of it as we focus on it and do that. So I'm curious, Vivienne, if you're open to sharing, what comes up when you think about what it is you'd want to create more of for yourself? That feeling of, or the two words that you might have written down about what you would do, or the things you would be or feel if time and money were no object.
Abundance. Yes, abundance, because I don't know if it is the way I've been raised, or because of the fact that my parents didn't have enough. So I'm always like, oh, I'm not sure if tomorrow I'll be able maybe to pay a single bill, or tomorrow I'll be able to pay the school fees for my children. So every time it's like fear to not have money in the future, for example. Yes. So yes, I would say abundance in money and health, at least health if I talk about her, I'm very grateful because at least I'm healthy. But the main problem is money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to feel abundance is to feel almost like a freedom and openness, a flexibility, rather than what feels maybe like constriction or anxiety or fear.
Abundance is like, as you said, to not be afraid of, oh, maybe tomorrow I'll like, to not be afraid of maybe spend money on something that I want to receive or I want to buy, or not be afraid of, no, if I give, no, I usually give, but the thing is that sometimes I will say, oh, if I spend money on this activity or on that, or my dress or shoes, maybe tomorrow I will not have money maybe to pay school for my children or to pay this activity. That's my problem as a single mom of 4. No, sometimes I'm very afraid of that.
So what if this, what if that comes in? Yeah. So I'm curious, as you know, maybe a great exercise for you, Bibiane, but also for all of you listening, is let's just think about and spend some time over the next day thinking about the feeling, who we would be without that, whatever that is for you. Now, for you, maybe Bibiane, it's that what if. If I were to drop the what if, what would I see that I'm not seeing right now? What would I feel that I'm not feeling right now?
Free, like I'll have a feeling of freedom, like financial freedom. And yes, it will be like a weight is removed from my shoulder, right? Yeah. And happiness, because that anxiety or worry about money is not something like, no, sometimes you don't sleep enough, or even if you sleep, even if I sleep, sometimes maybe at 1 hour or 2 hours, I'll just wake up and start thinking about, oh, what if I don't have what if? So.
Yeah, I'm curious what happens for you if you spend the next 24 hours thinking, I have financial freedom. What comes up? I can spend my money how I want. I am free to spend my money on what I want. I have financial freedom.
Okay.
What might come up for you as you practice that? If it's all right, we'll ask you again tomorrow if you're able to join us. What comes up when we think of, I have what I need, I can spend it how I want? If there's choices or ideas that come to your mind. This is just a thought.
Happiness, and happiness.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
I think Jody had something she wanted to say.
Sorry, Jody.
No worries. I was just going to say my 2 words today are gratitude and excitement. And when you were saying about just focusing on, and I do keep a gratitude journal, so I'm always focusing on what I'm grateful for, but it really shifted a bit today, and just some things that were said, because always last year at this time of year, because my daughter started university last year. So those first couple of weeks when she's gone back to school and it's an empty nest again, and I'm missing her, and so I kind of, but also now excitement, because instead of just feeling, I always feel so nostalgic kind of in that time frame, and like thinking about when the kids were little and when the kids were home and what we used to do and what back to school used to look like, and now it's so different. But also excitement in knowing, like, my son is getting married in October of next year, and my daughter, they both have a lot of really good things in their life. So thinking through all of this, and just realizing that maybe this is really a time for me to be curious, and for me to focus on kind of what now I can create in my life going forward. They don't need me to the capacity and that they once did, which has always been a very hard thing for me, but also in looking at it as a time to maybe just really be able to focus on some other things and creating that vision for things that I would like to do in the future, while also being excited for them at this stage that they're both at in their lives. So
yeah, as you were sharing, the thing that kept coming to my mind is like opposites. It's opposites. We have this tendency to focus on what we don't have or are missing out on, when let's just like take that and flip it. What do I have? I now have more time than I did before. I now have more energy to give to other things than I had before. I now have new priorities as they're growing and having new, marriages and things in their lives. It's like, if we take the thing we're focusing on and it's actually the thing we don't want, find the opposite of it. And theoretically, that's the thing we do want. And how do we bring that into focus? I don't want to be missing them. What do I want? I do want new whatever. Okay. That becomes the focal point.
right.
And the law that comes up for me is the law of cause and effect, right? We all know, even as toddlers, push this button, pop, something pops up, smack your brother, he's going to cry, right? Cause and effect, right? So it's like, but how do we use that law to exactly what Justine said, that we actually initiate the cause, which then creates the effect.
That's right.
So we're not at the mercy of this cause, but we actually get to create that, which is within our thoughts. So what is it that I want? And then the effect, which is the result.
Right.
Well, ladies, I think we could stay here for a couple more hours, but I am going to call this a session. I hope that you received what you needed today, and that you come back again tomorrow. And congratulations to, was it Lisa, for winning the, and anybody else that wants to buy the book, you can get it on Amazon. It's called Happy Days. It's called The Guided Path from Trauma to Profound Freedom and Inner Peace. And it's a great book. I highly recommend. So yeah, thank you for being here today. And we hopefully, like I said, we'll see you again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And so download your workbook beforehand. Taylor will pop the workbook in there for day 2. Please go into the challenge and drop in, what would you do? Who would you be if money and time were no object? Love to hear it. Let's raise the vibration and focus on gratitude between now and then. Did I get it all, Justine?
In opposites. That's the thing that just came out now. And I think it's so true. The opposites. What I focus on is what I see more of. So if I'm focusing on this and that's not working, what's the opposite that I want to call in? What is that?
Yeah. Patricia, thank you for being here too. I know we didn't get to hear from you, but welcome, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow and hear also your contributions.
Awesome.
Okay.
See
Bye,
you
everybody.
tomorrow.